Part 3 of the first episode of 8-bit Bourbon. We're going to finish the fight of the two consoles. Actually, we're not really going to do that because we quite enjoy both. But you came back for thirds, and we love you, and we promise to be more like Return of the Jedi, not Revenge of the Sith. So grab some ice, grab some bourbon, maybe even turn the lights down low because it's on. Let's do, what do we like about the Xbox One? What's our favorite things?
Okay, yeah, there's a lot of things to talk about.
I think this might actually be hard. As a player of both, I'll go on record and say I have limited experience with PS4. I do enjoy it. I enjoy it very much. I'm a big Xbox guy, but I very much enjoy it.
And I am too.
Yeah.
Because our friends are on it. That's a big part of it.
I feel like it's easier to say what we like about the PS4 more than it is about the Xbox One, but I like my Xbox One
The Xbox One is a very complicated thing because there's so many things to it. Okay, well, let's talk about a couple things. First of all, what do we like? Let's go. Let's talk about the Kinect. Everyone slayed them for it. I think that, like, forget about the fact that, like, everyone's like, no one wants to play motion control games. Okay, well, let's just.
First of all, we're never playing motion control.
Let's just throw those out. Let's just throw those away for a second.
I've had a very solid experience with Xbox Fitness, and if you're an if you're an Xbox Gold member, and you want to just have a little 10-minute sweat in your room, your apartment.
I've heard it's amazing.
It's amazing. It's awesome. It's very well done.
But let's just talk about Kinect, how it adds to the console in general. I think that, first of all, facial recognition is amazing. So my mother, she would never use a console, but I want to get an Xbox One for my mom and dad because it can recognize them and show them, my mom walks in the room, hi, Bridget, and it will show them just, you can pin Netflix and the media apps and television.
You're leading right into what I want to know.
Oh, go ahead.
All right. Xbox 360 was notorious for you couldn't not use Netflix unless you paid $60 a year to be an Xbox Gold member. Is that still the same?
Yes, that's still the same.
So your parents would have to pay $60 a year.
Yeah.
Does that include Skype too?
You're asking, can you use Skype without a gold membership? I don't think you can.
So your parents, if you bought, they'd
have to pay $60 a year. Yeah.
Do you think they'd be okay with that?
That's a good question. It's a very good question.
Because that's a hard sell. Because is there anything you can get away with using on your PS4 without the new PSN Plus account? Because that's what you need to do to play multiplayer.
You do need the PSN Plus to play multiplayer, but that's an interesting question because I always say, when people say, well, Xbox, you need gold to play Netflix, like, that's bullshit. And I always say, who cares? Everyone who has it. But that's an interesting point. My parents, they don't need Xbox Live Gold.
They don't need it at all.
Because they would never be playing a video game.
Is it worth?
They do.
Is it worth paying?
It's an interesting question.
Is it worth paying $60 a year for?
See, for my parents, there's 5 of us. My 4 siblings, they're all married. They have a lot of grandchildren. So for them, money wouldn't really be an object, but it is kind of a ripoff for them when all they're going to do is Skype and use Netflix. Let's say
$60 a year.
Because let's be serious, you can get Blu-ray players that play Netflix. Yep. My parents' television plays Netflix. Blah 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 blah. I think they definitely need to get rid of that. For me and you, it doesn't affect us at all because we're going to have gold. I'm going to have PSN Plus for the rest of my life. Yeah, it is what it is.
It's done.
But that is an interesting question.
All right. So more about your parents. But other than that, would you highly recommend this for your parents?
Well, what's very cool is I think they have a little bit of work to do. Sometimes it's a little. This is like very nitpicky stuff for me. Yeah. For my parents, it's a big deal. Let's say my dad wanted to turn on the television. Okay, Xbox on, great. Sometimes it says lost connection. Okay,
yeah.
And it'll have the little cable thing, and my dad freaks out. He doesn't know what's going on. Like that to him is a disaster. It's DEFCON 5. You know what I mean? Yeah. So they need to work on making it a little bit quicker, I think.
Yeah.
And changing the channels. If he's going to use voice commands, he needs them to work.
Yeah. You've had problems with it not working?
A little bit. I think that the coolest thing that people aren't using, the problem with...
Do you ever wonder if it's just the user? Because I've seen some pretty bad users.
The user's a big part of it. IGN did a horrible video.
Terrible.
Where they were going...
The guy did not have the...
They were saying Xbox, go to Battlefield 4. And it's like, you have to pause a second. Give it a second.
It could be the fault of the user and the fault of the Xbox. But the Xbox knows specific commands. If you say Xbox... play Battlefield 4, it will not go. The command is Xbox go to Battlefield 4.
And I had to teach that to my brother Dan. But that's exactly what I was just about to say was if you don't know the specific command, it doesn't have the Siri or Google Now
it does not
natural language processing.
It doesn't come up like there's some things
it
like
won't
when
ask
you say
a
Xbox
question.
Select, it'll be like, were you looking for this?
Right.
But it doesn't exactly tell you to say like.
Which is interesting because if you say Xbox Bing and you say Xbox Show Me Everything with Jack Nicholson, it'll show you all of his movies and television shows, but the Xbox itself can't do that. And for my father, like he has a hard time, he's not technologically sound. He has a hard time remembering exactly what the command is. Yeah. But that said, when I showed him, I said, Dad, say Xbox go to one guide. And the one guide is basically it's your television guide, and it can also add, Netflix and apps and stuff. But he said Xbox, and I go, Dad, just ask it what's on TV. Ask it, what's on. So he'd say, what's on NBC? What's on CBS? What's on ESPN? And it just immediately goes. And then you go watch this channel. And that was like, that's magical.
It is.
And that's why I like what we were talking about before. What is next gen? To me, that was kind of next gen.
Yeah, it is. I'm right with you. I think because the games are not up there.
We are both not voice command people.
No, I'm not
at all.
But you know what? I
use it all the time.
Besides to control my DVR, I have not touched a single. I haven't touched my
perfect example.
I haven't touched anything.
Okay, today I was in a rush to get ready. I had to take a shower. Got out of the shower, got to my room in a towel. Wanted to have a little Netflix in the background while I got ready and did some stuff. Xbox on. Turns on. Xbox, go to Netflix. Xbox, select 3.
You just turned my Xbox on.
Well, sometimes that happens. It's going to turn your television on too. But Xbox, select 3. All of a sudden, I'm watching Archer on Netflix, and I change the episode. I fast forward. I pause. I haven't touched the thing, and like that sounds like a silly, irrelevant thing to have to do, but in reality, it was actually saving me a lot of time. I'm putting jeans on. I'm doing all sorts of stuff, and I didn't have a hand to use that entire time. And I was able to get into Netflix and watch something. And like we said before, like to me, that was like a very next gen experience.
Yes,
that's something that didn't exist 3 months ago.
And you realize the Kinect was around last year.
I never bought it,
and that did not exist.
That's true. The biggest difference. Well, the biggest brilliance I think of Xbox One, and this is going back to my brother Dan, who's not he's just not a techie guy. Yeah. The HDMI cord in and the HDMI out, it allows him to never change inputs. It allows him to Xbox on, turns on his surround sound, turns on his television, and that is such a huge deal to him because he's the kind of guy, if he had an Apple TV on input 2, he'll just never watch Netflix on Apple TV because he doesn't want to deal with that change. So now he can just he can Skype my brother Ben, and it just blows his mind because he's like, is Dan, Dan, he's like, is Dan really Skyping me? And it connects them in a way that's really cool because Dan has his daughter Piper, Ben has his 2 daughters, and they can, sit in a living room and talk to each other. So it's a really cool experience.
And there's one thing that's been eating me up, like the week lead up to the Xbox One release, they had one video in particular, The Verge, TheVerge.com. They had Nilay Patel, who I love. I think he's a great tech journalist. He went to Microsoft, and he's testing out the TV stuff. Mm-hmm. And he kept screwing up the commands. And they edited the video. Like, he would say, like, he was watching TV, and he'd be like, Xbox. And he'd be like, Xbox, go to Forza 5. Mm-hmm. But Xbox doesn't recognize go to Forza 5. It's Xbox go to
Forza Motorsports.
Yeah, Motorsports
5. Whatever, 5. Yeah.
And then when he said it correctly, it would work, and he'd be like, "Well, it took 2 times."
Right.
And that's why I feel like Xbox did a terrible job of trying to explain to people what the commands are. Because we were a perfect example. We had a party last night. Maybe 6, 7 people in the same room. Xbox One going, playing music. It was a beautiful thing. Our friend had it connected to a nice little surround sound. The Xbox music was picking its own music. It was doing its thing. It was a great centerpiece. Me and you try to control it. The music wasn't that loud. We go, Xbox, go to YouTube. Mm-hmm. Nothing. Not even like Xbox can't hear you. There was nothing.
Yeah, it didn't even register.
And there are 4 people in there that have never played with one, never even seen one. It's their first experience with one, and it just does not work.
And that makes you wonder, one, did he calibrate it correctly?
He did not calibrate correctly.
Probably not.
And that's what I worry about. Does Xbox because we didn't know the You watched a little video or read something that said do this, and I feel like mine works very well because you helped me out.
Right, but you're right. Like my brother Dan,
and
he can't calibrate.
It's a terrible
Xbox.
selling.
My
thing.
parents, they couldn't calibrate their Xbox.
I mean, like if you have a serious problem with yours, amongst other people that were like maybe on the fence of thinking this thing's cool or is a waste of money, that's a terrible selling point because it was a serious problem last night.
It just, like we could not. It just didn't work.
It just did not work.
Same thing with my brothers at Thanksgiving. It just didn't work.
It's a complete, total opposite of experience of what we have. Like you guys heard us, like mine magically turned on during the podcast.
Yeah, well,
and you nailed it first try. I mean, you're pretty close to it, but there was no issue.
It's true.
And I wonder, like, why didn't Microsoft do something more to fix that?
I love...
Like, why didn't it come with a list of commands?
Right. They should have come with a card.
Yes.
Just like Time Warner comes with like a card of the channels. It should have come with a card.
Because how many times have you done it in like the first week that you had this thing? You'd be like, Xbox, play this, and it just did not work.
Here's another confusing part.
Because you had to say go to.
Here's another confusing part. Let's say you say...
I love how we're doing this when we're saying, what do we like about the Xbox? And we're just bashing it.
We're just bashing it, yeah. Well, there's a lot of very...
But you know what the thing is? We do like this about the Xbox because we like the potential.
We want it to be fixed,
yes.
Yeah, absolutely. So here's another thing. So this is very confusing. Like for even for techie people, it's very confusing. If you say Xbox, go to Netflix, okay? And the top it says basically like if you want it to stop listening, say stop listening. Yeah. But while you're in there, all of the things highlight green that you can say. Now this is what's confusing. You think that the Kinect is still listening because it says it's still listening.
But so you can still have to say Xbox in front of it.
Well, here's the thing. You can say select 1, select 2. You can say play, pause. Those are all Netflix commands, right? But if you're not using a Netflix command, let's say you want to snap party chat, you still have to say Xbox snap party chat. But that's not obvious. Like
no, it's not obvious. That's what I don't understand.
They should have a video guide.
In that, but they do have that little video thing. Like when you first boot the thing up the first time, it gives you that little thing.
But it's not.
It doesn't explain anything.
It doesn't separate those nuances though.
Like I don't understand.
But you know what I'm saying? You know what I'm talking about when it says
exactly.
You still need to say Xbox.
I remember when I was still messing around with it. Like I thought I generally had a good experience with it the first night. And then the second night, it was kind of iffy, and you come like, well, maybe you didn't have your speaker side off, and you fixed it. And then I was doing things, and I was like, I'm having such a problem whenever it says stop listening. Right. I cannot get to work.
And I had no idea at the time, but we figured it out on the fly.
Try saying Xbox before you do it, and sure enough, it works.
And we're huge nerds, so like if it took us that
very well
difficult, if it was that difficult for us to figure out, how difficult is it for someone who because they're trying to sell this to people that are non-gamers, and they need
the average Joe
to be it needs to be more obvious than
that. Our friend Matt, whose party we were at last night, he instead of using Kinect, he picked up the controller and took like 30 extra steps to get the one thing.
And that's not the magic.
If it was at our house, if your house, my house, I would be like, Xbox, do this, and it works perfectly. But since Microsoft doesn't tell you how to do it right, like.
I will say though, it's never going to be perfect at a party. There's too much background noise.
But it just aggravates me because it could be so good. And I think when this thing's in a room, it should sell itself to people. Right. But last night, I was like, wow, if you go to people hate this thing. They think it's a joke.
If you go to the IGN testing of the Xbox Kinect commands, and the comments are so funny, and usually the comments make me want to kill myself. I refuse to sign up for a account because I don't want to get caught in these fanboy wars. But what's funny is everyone is saying the same thing. They're saying say Xbox, then pause, stop. It's like just like saying one sentence where like it's all one word.
But
like
that's not going to
work.
Is it their fault because we don't know?
True,
if I didn't have a friend that like had one, and because I hear my roommate like. He'll be yelling. I'm like, dude, that's not what you say. He's like, why isn't this working? I'm like, because you're saying shit wrong.
Right, because you're saying watch.
Yeah.
Whatever instead of go to whatever.
And like, all right, for another perfect example, the snap feature is a great feature.
Love the snap feature. Once again, like I said before,
we'll lead into the horrible party thing.
Yeah, me and my brother's watching Jets games while we're Skyping on Snap. Amazing.
If you're waiting for a game to load and you say Xbox Snap TV, you don't know to say Xbox Switch to get back to what you were doing. Right. It doesn't tell you.
Right.
You'll be hitting up and down, and then you have no idea.
That is probably the single most confusing thing in the whole thing, because you can also double tap the glowing X button. It'll switch your focus. But the only way to really
do this stuff.
And like imagine like someone who's not a big tech guy, or even someone who is, hitting the I call it the home, the guide button. I don't know what it's actually called. The glowing button brings you back to the home screen. That is not a natural thing for most people to do on a console. In a console, you're in a game, you're in Netflix, like that. You know, it's great that they're doing this because it's awesome.
The only time I ever double tap the thing in Xbox 360 if I accidentally hit like the button pressing X, and I would just hit it quick again. That was the only time it ever happened. But
yeah, if you are snapped somewhere, you can double tap and it'll switch your focus between the main 3/4 screen. And
honestly, I don't think it feels that comfortable to double tap that thing. It feels awkward.
Yeah, the PS4 uses a double tap too to go to the home screen or go back to the last.
We
app.
never even touched on the start and select thing. I hate the start and select in that PS4.
Yeah, that's controller. Xbox is the same thing.
Yeah, but I feel like they're a little closer.
I think it's the same thing.
All right, so since we talked about things we love so much about the Xbox One, let's talk about the one thing we hate.
Yeah, absolutely. Go ahead.
Should we say Xbox PARTY?
Yeah,
because I hate you.
Right. Here's the thing. It's definitely not a party.
It's not.
It's a really bad party. It's the party where you end up passing out. Maybe you wake up with a girl that you are really embarrassed to sleep with. Like that's what the party chat is.
The best thing about this party chat is that if you play with more than 2 people, people have different theories of why it doesn't work. Like we thought we understood why it didn't work. Right. And then we have a friend, Jeff Licardi, friend of the show. We might have him on for a Battlefield episode. He completely told us a different thing of why he doesn't think it works, and it makes perfect sense.
No one's really sure.
So we have no idea.
So here's the thing. Okay, so you go back to Xbox 360 and now PS4, which is a bigger black eye for Microsoft because Xbox 360 defined
it absolutely
party chat. It nailed it. And by the way, even over computer gaming,
it may have been clunky, and it may have been ugly, but it
was
worked.
Flawless.
Yes.
So when let's say Adam has Rise. Let's say he logs on a Rise. We start a party chat. I log on a Battlefield 4. It'll say, we can't talk because we're not in the same game. That breaks.
Or it says, do you want to do this because you're in different parties? And if I join a multiplayer game, it's going to automatically invite you every single time.
It's a very bizarre thing. And another thing.
Or it'll straight up tell you, don't do this.
Right. And another thing that happens all the time that is very bizarre is that we'll be playing Battlefield or any game. And I think it has to. This is once again us guessing because it's so unclear. If one person's out of Battlefield and one person's in Battlefield, or replace Battlefield with any game, one person can't turn party chat on.
Yeah.
And now we talked about this before. I don't think that you should have to turn party chat on. I do understand the reason. Go ahead.
Yeah.
Explain the reason.
I was listening to a podcast and they were saying like top 5 complaints of their Xbox One. They said they don't understand when you join a party why party chat doesn't automatically turn on. And I was thinking to myself, if you go into Battlefield 4, there is no like create a lobby. 100%, it's gone. I don't have an experience with the Call of Duty Ghosts. I should have checked it out before we played. I didn't. But there is you invite people by joining a game, and your party automatically gets invited. Right. So if you wanted to play with the 16 other or the 14 other people, say you have a party of 4. If you want to play with the 12 other people in your party, the only way to communicate with them is to not turn on your party chat. And I think that's why they do it.
Right.
So you can actually be part of the team.
Right.
But if you wanted to be strictly in the party, you have to turn party chat on.
But here's the thing. Here's my response to that.
Terrible.
Here's my response to that. How about you default party chat on? And if you want to play a game where you want to speak to the rest of your team, there's an option to turn party chat off. It's ridiculous to not have party chat on.
Because like obviously
it's ridiculous.
Because they took out first of all
Xbox invented this.
They took out voice messaging. So if I see you on, I have the best way to do it is the Xbox Smart Glass app, which is phenomenal.
Right. And by the way, thank God for voice commands, because if you invite me to a party, my voice chat's not on. I have to say Xbox.
Yeah.
Snap party or
if I want to talk to you quick, I got to say
chat.
Xbox Snap Party, and then I got to invite you.
Right.
And then once you get in there, I have to turn on my
party chat.
Yeah. It's a mess. It's amazing. They created the party chat.
And this is another thing I talked about, I believe, in my PS4 review. But if I didn't, Xbox Original. Yeah. Xbox Original. I believe it was Xbox Original. They once Xbox Live was invented and they launched it, they required that every single game support Xbox Live, and that was a hugely controversial thing. So that didn't mean that if you're playing some crappy single player game,
little games would do even little.
It just
they
all
would
it
do
meant.
leaderboards. That would be like the minimum they could
But all
do.
it really meant is that if you logged on
Yeah.
and I'm on Peggle, which obviously didn't exist, but like some simple game, it would pop up and say Adam is logged on. That was the basic minimum, and I believe they also required a certain resolution, like 720p.
Can I say this? One thing I've really enjoyed, because you're kind of like flirting around it. I love that it doesn't tell me when you sign on. How annoying were those beacons and the activity alerts and when your friends
too much.
It's way too much.
I think the reason they did
Remember in the original Xbox, you could move with the right analog, you could move them around the screen.
I don't actually.
You don't remember that?
No, I don't remember that.
It's a little factoid.
That's funny.
You used to be able to do that.
But I think the reason they did that is because now that you have your cable box plugged into the HDMI in, that you don't need to see 100 people logging in and out. I think that's why.
It's obnoxious.
Yeah. But what I was getting at was Xbox demanded that every single game support Xbox Live. And then after that, and it might have been Xbox 360, I'm not sure. I'd have to look it up, but eventually they demanded, party chat worked across platforms. And when they demanded every game support Xbox Live, it was controversial as shit.
Yeah,
like
it was.
They were asking developers to do a lot more. But that was what made Xbox Live absolutely decimate PlayStation Network for the last generation and 2 generations.
Really,
almost.
I mean, there was nothing to the PlayStation Network until they created PlayStation Plus.
Yeah,
I would love to see. I don't understand. I don't even understand how they do it.
Why did Xbox move backwards? That's what's so frustrating to us. That's so frustrating to us.
Like, why would you take out these developers are used to making a lobby?
Also true, yeah.
They're used to it. I mean, it's embedded in them. Like Call of Duty does it so well. Like you join a game, it says join a game. And it says create a party or a quick match.
We're talking about the year 2000.
And then you invite 5 other people. Like how hard is that?
The year 2000. If me and Adam and our 2 friends are in a party and we start a Halo game, we start a Call of Duty game, we start whatever existed at that time, we are on the same goddamn team and we can talk to each other. That is just something that should be basic accepted stuff at this point. And the fact that Xbox somehow removed that, and I'm not sure why. I don't understand. I still don't understand.
And look at the problems we've had with Battlefield. Like we can't get into the game, so we have multiple people within our party trying to get us into a game. And you get
it's just a nightmare.
You get 6 different invites, and 2 people are on one team, 2 people on another team, 2 people are on a different game. It's insane. It doesn't make any sense. And nobody has come out and said why they've done that.
And that's another thing. Like, look, we were watching all these Battlefield 4 reviews, and we're going to talk about Battlefield 4 in depth, their launch in another podcast, but people are just like, for some reason, why are people giving this game a pass? If they're actually playing this game, it is unplayable. It is broken. I mean, it is ridiculous. I've never seen a worse AAA launch. We talked about this before. I've never seen a worse AAA launch in my life.
We're not going to take, because we're fans. We're fans of websites. We both like our own websites.
Absolutely.
And I would never, like I said before, I'm a big fan of Rebel FM, a podcast I listen to. Polygon.
We love Polygon. We love The Verge. We love Ars Technica. I love all those sites.
They went back and they completely changed. They're like, screw this. This is
I respect them for doing that.
Arthur Geese, if you ever listen to him, he can be like insufferable to listen to.
Right.
But you know what?
Polygon's a little controversial.
When he puts his money where his mouth is, he's right. And he makes himself he proves his point. And they went back and they gave that game like a 3.5, 4.5.
It's unplayable. It's unplayable.
And that's what they said. It's unplayable.
Yeah. I honestly, I would never be the one to be give me a refund.
IGN's not doing that. The game gave me like an 8.
Yeah, 8.5, whatever it was. Yeah.
And nobody, I haven't heard, I keep my ear pretty low to the ground. I haven't heard of anybody changing anything. And Polygon had the balls to go back and
I think that's what we're excited about starting this podcast is, first of all, 2 things. One, is IGN being pressured, or do they have any pressure not to talk about how Battlefield 4 is a disaster? I'm not sure. I am so not a conspiracy theory person.
No, I'm not either.
But I do think one of the reasons they don't is they don't have the time to really play Battlefield 4. They've moved on. They've gone to another game, and that's part of their job.
The best thing about this is our general impressions are going to evolve, just like you guys that are listening. We're going to be putting the same kind of time in. Say we get a game the first weekend, we think it's great, but a week later when we're still playing it, we're like,
yeah, we love Battlefield 4 the first 2 days we played it.
I still enjoy it.
It's an awesome game. That's what's sad. It's an awesome
game. It's very
game.
Good. It's just
we wanted a break from the Halos. We wanted a break from the Call of Duties, and it's a very different game. And
it's great.
We like the squad-based mechanics.
The fact that you cannot follow your friends into a game, and even if you do,
You
put on a different team.
Right. You get put on a different team. Oh, I'm on China. I'm on Russia. Oh, great.
Or you get
teams
sent
are
to a
too
different
imbalanced.
lobby.
It's a nightmare.
Or you just can't. One person can join the server, and the other one says the server is not available.
I understand EA is a large company, and they pull a lot of weight. But shame on Microsoft for not making them use their servers, because I feel like that's a big part of it.
Yeah.
And outside of that, you know, there should be some basic requirements for multiplayer games. Like, you can't get us on the same team.
That's what I understand. I always thought Xbox had these standards. I thought if you're going to be Xbox game, you had to hit these standards.
You had to be high def.
Xbox really
had to be
what is going on
Xbox Live? You had to have voice chat.
Can you imagine the shitstorm if Call of Duty was doing this?
Oh my god!
Like you guys out there, I'm sure we have many hardcore Call of Duty fans. I'm as big as I can't say I'm big as more because I stopped playing after Black Ops 2. It just fell out of it. Like,
but
I still respect the game. I just fell out of it. I wanted something new, so I switched to Battlefield.
There was a time that Adam played probably, God, I don't know, 4 hours a day.
No, probably more.
6 hours a day.
Home from work.
This is a full time job.
And then
schedule I'm talking about. You come home, you play till you went to sleep.
That's all I did.
Yep.
All I did. There was a time I was ranked #1 for a month in deathmatch.
We're gonna have to look that.
It's on my Facebook.
Yeah, we're gonna have to look that statistic up for.
I was murdering it at like points above.
8-bit Bourbon fans, make sure that you make him prove that, because I'm not buying that for 1 second.
I swear to God,
I'm not buying that for 1 second.
It wasn't like for all time. It was like a month. But
well, let's call him out on that.
Where are we going for this? Where were we going?
Anyway, back to Xbox One. We talked about the controller. We talked about the graphics.
You think it's
there's a big
I feel like the Xbox One is hard to talk about. I feel like the PS4 is a lot easier to talk about.
Well, because when the Xbox fanboys, they call the PS4 the PS3.5 because it's just a faster version. But that's what they're. I
just don't believe it. There's so much there. There really is.
But you understand what I'm saying is that I guess the idea is that it's just a faster PS3.
Yeah.
Where the Xbox One.
I don't believe that, because like I loved and hated my PS3, and I think the PS4 is so good.
Well, I think it's what I'm really impressed with Sony is that I feel like they've went back and really solved their major issues, and that's a hard thing to do.
It is.
They took a long, hard look at themselves, and they said, "We screwed this up. We screwed this up. Let's fix the controller. Let's fix the network. Let's fix the party."
Do you think Microsoft went like they're in over their head?
Did they overreach? I don't know. I don't know either. It obviously remains to be seen.
I do like what they're doing.
Yeah.
And I don't think I'm a fanboy, but like I'm more forgiving than other people. Mm-hmm. And the experiences I think that Microsoft is so positive. Like, you can see, if you're in my room, you can see my TV remote is in the far corner of my room. I barely found my DirecTV remote. Mm-hmm. And it's been like that for 3 weeks now.
Yeah, it's.
I don't need them.
Right, and as we talked about before, this is our evolving relationship with technology. Like,
but we're talking about video game consoles, and I'm always saying TVs.
Yeah, and that's and we're not even big TV people, but we like to watch sports. We like to watch whatever. We like to watch Netflix. We like to come home.
That NFL app is busted.
Oh, it's terrible. But it could be really cool if they really fix it.
Because I've had it like my fantasy team. It'll go from like 131 points, and all of a sudden it's 12 of 12.
Yeah, it's
just all over the place.
It's a broken app. I agree.
But let's talk games. Xbox One versus PS4 games. We're gonna keep out third-party games. What do you think?
Real quick before we get to games, I think it's the interface. Let's just talk about that real briefly. I like it a lot. I love the tiles.
Very Connect.
I like
Connect focus though.
Absolutely. But I like when you hit the guide button, it goes back. You can open a few apps. You can go back. You can, it blew my mind when I watched TV for like 4 hours one day. I went back and my game was still in the same spot.
Is it safe to say there's no difference between hitting the home button on the Xbox and hitting the PlayStation button on the PlayStation?
It's very similar.
Is it very similar?
I believe the PlayStation, if you launch another app or another game,
it closes it?
It closes. Okay. I believe the Xbox, it tries to keep it open.
Because I know, I think if you do game on Xbox, it closes the one.
Yes, if you do
that.
But
if you go Netflix for 6 hours,
Netflix,
and then you go bounce right back to Dead Rising.
I was in the Killer Instinct Dojo one time, and it was like 8 hours later after watching TV, and I loaded, Xbox go to Killer Instinct, and it loaded the exact same spot. That was very cool.
I've done it when I go to bed. The only problem is if you leave off in a multiplayer game, it just disconnects you from those servers, and you have to pretty much quit the whole game to come back.
Right. I mean that's a video game thing.
Yeah,
I mean it is what it is. What was I going to say? Interface. I like the tiles. I like the snap feature. To me, is going to be awesome someday.
And we both love the game DVR.
Love the game DVR. I wish that the snap. would not take up 20% of the screen at all times. Like, for example, let's say me and you want to Skype for a Jets Dolphins game.
Yeah.
It should just have a floating screen of you in the corner. That should be an option.
Skype Snap.
No, there isn't.
Right
yet. That's going to happen because I've seen that on videos.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous that it's not in the launch. But you know what I'm saying?
Oh.
I just need a floating window of you. I don't need 20% of the screen saying Snap.
From personal experience, because my girlfriend, she lives far away, or not far away, like 2 hours maybe. But we do the Xbox Skype a lot now. And if I want to Snap TV, it completely mutes me.
Right.
And like I can't say like Xbox Switch and it brings back Skype to front screen. It's just once the TV app is running, like I don't know if it does it for other apps.
So if you got
once there's another app up, I'm out of the equation.
So I hope our fans are paying attention because basically what he's saying is he wants to watch television while he's talking to his girlfriend.
Yeah, I don't.
That's really the only thing I take out of that.
I mean it's awesome.
But yeah, I like the Snap feature is very cool. The beauty of it is the fact that you can overlay anything on television means that the future holds no limits for what it could do. The apps, if they allow people to write their own apps into you know.
Yeah, I know they don't call it Xbox Live Arcade anymore, but I'm surprised we don't see more game apps. Like, can you imagine, like, because you know how crazy Candy Crush is right now. Can you imagine watching TV and you see like Xbox Snap Candy Crush, and then you have a little tile, 20% of your screen playing Candy Crush. Like,
well, I hope they open that.
Do you even think that's a possibility? Do you think is Snap destined just to be apps?
Well,
because I don't understand. I honestly don't understand the double media apps. Like, why would you ever want to watch Netflix on top of your TV?
Well, you wouldn't. That's very silly.
But they give you the option to do that. Why
but that's great. That's consumer options.
Yeah, but why?
But that's my point.
Who would ever do that?
No, nobody would.
Like, can you imagine if you could do that on your PlayStation 4? Say one kid has the PlayStation controller, PS4 controller, with he plugs it into his headset. He says like PlayStation, Snap, Netflix, and then bam, it's up there, and he has it in his phone while his brother plays Killzone.
Let me float you one thing. How about this?
Float it.
What if you could Snap? We've talked about Snap.
Snap currently, 2 games?
No. Well, yeah, that'll never happen. But Snap 20% of the screen is a problem. What if I floated you this? What if you said you're watching the Dolphins game, okay? And I said Xbox, Snap, Netflix. And I was able to watch Netflix on half the screen. And we could make it 50%, and you were able to watch the Dolphins game.
You know I have ADD, and I would just be so distracted.
Well, I'm just saying, though.
I would probably have a seizure.
Or there was some sort of, any sort of like 50-50 or 25-25-25.
Yeah.
25% split where you could watch things multiple places. That would be pretty sweet.
It would be.
I think that they need to eliminate the strict 20% of the screen, top and side thing, because like we said before, like I don't need to see, hey, you're on Skype on the entire right side of my screen. All I need to see is a floating screen of you. That'd be great.
Xbox just says they just have so much. You know, they spent $100 million in research on that controller. Like, you look at that thing. Is that thing worth $100 million?
I know, it's crazy.
Oh, this is one thing I want to get back to. We talked about the PlayStation controller and PlayStation headset. How awesome is the Xbox headset?
Well, the Xbox headset, the reason it's great is, first of all, it's way more comfortable, but more importantly,
and how good is the sound?
The voice quality is amazing. And it's actually really cool that the Kinect itself can pick up your voice, and it actually picks it up through the gameplay. But the headset is so much better. It sounds better, way better.
It's way better.
It's comfortable than a cell phone conversation.
Yeah, it's
way
great.
Better. Yeah,
it's great. Like I think it's using Wi-Fi Direct, isn't it? Is that correct?
Yeah,
is that what the Xbox is using now?
It has like a 25 megabyte per second.
All you Android nerds out there, please start hacking your Xboxes with Wi-Fi Direct. Yeah,
help us out.
I would love to see some crazy stuff because I've seen people because with the PlayStation 4 you can switch out the hard drive, I believe, and a lot of people are throwing solid states in there, and I guess there is a way. It's crazy. It's a crazy way, but I guess people are starting to do it with their Xbox Ones.
Well, here's the thing with the Xbox One. You avoid your warranty, though.
Yeah, because you got to cut tapes.
It's easy to do as far as like replacing a hard drive. You're just replacing a hard drive, but you're avoiding your warranty. Whereas
I think there's some like the programming stuff into it, because I don't think I don't know. Everything I heard is different, because the PlayStation, you pretty much put it in there, you download something off Sony's website, the reboot thing, and then you're good to go.
Well, here's the difference. And they both have their strengths and minuses. PlayStation, if you get, they have a replaceable internal hard drive. So if you get rid of the internal hard drive, you have to throw away a 500 gigabyte hard drive. That's a little, it kind of sucks.
We should know what you should do. We should have one of our listeners send us their Xbox One or
we'll do surgery on it.
We'll see what happens. And then we'll sign your 500 gig drive and we'll mail back to you.
We'll add a lot of value to it that way.
And if we break your Xbox One, then
we take no responsibility.
We'll send you a little shot of Makers.
Talk to Makers.
Talk
to Makers Mark. They sponsor us. They don't. What was I gonna say though? Oh, but Xbox, they support soon.
Yeah,
just like the Xbox 360, they support external, which I actually like because
did the Xbox One really support it? Because I think what they did was a joke. Like I want to hook like a terabyte USB 3.0.
Well, I don't think that's been
that's
ruled
going to happen
out.
on the one. No, that's going to happen on the one. But
yeah.
Do you really think the Xbox 360 support that? Because I think the most you can do is 16 gigs, right?
Yeah.
Thumb drive.
But I'll tell you what. But you have to remember, they're two different consoles.
I know.
The Xbox One, like the minimum install for a AAA release is like 40 gigs. It's a totally different ballgame because Xbox One requires the entire disc to be installed. But Xbox 360, I really enjoyed that because I don't know if you remember, but when I got NHL, I used to have a thumb drive. It was like a 16 or 32 gig thumb drive, and I used to install my games on it. So I could take Splinter Cell over here or NHL over here, and I'd have all my saves. I'd have the game on there, which I like to do because I think it runs a little bit smoother, especially if you have an old Xbox with a shitty optical drive. And that was actually nice because you could do that mobily. But at the same time, why can't both have both options? You know what I mean?
I don't know. The funny thing is, like, when you think Microsoft, you think PC. And when you think PC, you think if I don't like my video card, I'm going to pull it out and switch it.
Right.
Why? Is Xbox that afraid of pirates? Because, like, I understand when they first came out, like, it came out 7 years ago. Like, think about the way pirates have developed in the last 7 years. Like, you have to take procedures. Like, the whole DRM thing that Ubisoft and all these other companies do, they're kind of letting back now.
Yeah,
but Microsoft
a lot of backlash to that.
had to future-proof themselves. But you think they would be like a step ahead or right on par right now? Like, why is Sony so okay with being like, you know what, if you don't want a hard drive in it, switch it?
Well, I mean, the fact
why isn't Xbox that way?
The fact that the Xbox, well, I think one thing is it might just be a physical design decision. It's harder to get to the Xbox One hard drive, and they might not have found a better way to do it.
But if it's your choice, if you say something. If you say, yes, I'm okay with voiding my warranty, why can't you do it?
Well,
it has way more steps than the
I have to do some
one is you pop that thing out and you throw the other one and you download off their website, the boot recovery, and you're good.
All right. I have to do some research on it, but I don't think it's so bad to replace the Xbox hard drive. It's just the fact that it does void your warranty, which is a big deal.
And Sony's like, yeah, you can pop top off, whatever. We don't care.
Yeah, but I mean, they designed there so that it was replaceable.
But this is 2 generations they've done that.
It's true. It's very true.
And like, I don't know.
Now the Xbox.
I don't think honestly I would ever do it, but it seems like important to other people, and that's what I care about.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I agree. Like, I don't mind deleting my digital games when I can just install them again another day if I really want to play them. But I agree. I think options are good for the consumer.
And while we're on the same page of storage, the Xbox One doesn't tell you what you have left.
Right.
There's no physical.
That is
there's
ridiculous.
No physical way to look at your storage.
That is ridiculous.
But I've also heard
once again that's a byproduct of rushing both consoles.
I haven't run into this because I have 3 games, but I guess it keeps track of what you play. And if you're not playing a game and you need storage, it automatically deletes that game.
Interesting.
And if you ever say I haven't played Battlefield 4 in 4 months, and I download an expansion. If I download the expansion, it automatically downloads the game, doesn't tell me it's doing it, and also doesn't tell you that it deleted the game.
So it tries to auto manage your hard drive. It says the game's there,
which I believe it tells you the game's there, but it's not really there.
Right.
It tries. That's
which could be good or could be bad.
I think it's fine.
Honestly, let's be serious.
Say you have Battlefield 4 and Battlefield 5 is coming out. Why would you ever even care if? Because this is the problems I'm going to run into.
That's us. Some people might care.
I'm staying no matter what the price is. Like, I realize the pricing is terrible for digital versus physical.
Right, because
copies.
you can't resell it.
I should not be paying $60 for a game.
It should be $50.
But I think I've accepted that. And if, say, I stick with Battlefield, when Battlefield 5 comes out, why would I even care about Battlefield 4?
Yeah. No, I agree with that.
So I really care about storage management. I'm okay with it.
Here's my theory on it.
Am I too lax on Microsoft?
A little bit.
I'm not trying to say I'm like a fanboy, but like
Here's my
just not
theory.
care enough
Here's
for
my
all this
theory.
stuff?
Okay, so it's a 500 gigabyte hard drive. So after
Which
you
I
have
think is a joke.
after you have the operating system,
I think both of them are a joke.
well, after you have the operating system, after you have the whatever, the formatting and everything, I think it's about 400.
I believe the PS4 was 408. I don't know what the Xbox was.
It's like low 400s.
I bet you the Xbox is closer to like high threes.
Maybe not. Well, anyway, let's just say it's 400 for both.
Okay.
Let's say your average game is 40 gigs. I think it's about
the
right.
biggest an Xbox was Call of Duty. I believe it was like 49. I don't know what the PS4
I think we should call it about 40 is about average.
Yeah,
it might go to 50 eventually, but let's call it 40 for now. That's 10 games.
It's a lot of games.
Who the hell plays more than 10
Seriously,
games at a time?
and
Okay.
who keeps them?
You have saves, you have uploads. There are other things. But for me, I think 500 gigs, and I'm a huge data whore. I use stuff my phone, I like to have a ton of gigs.
A smashed Verizon Galaxy
Which,
Nexus,
by the way, you really need to upgrade.
But I don't want to lose my limited plan. Like I'm a data whore. I burn through. So I have 4G where I live, and I'm just eating stuff.
Right,
I get messages all the time saying I'm using a lot of data. I'm like, you know what? Fuck you. I'm unlimited. It doesn't matter what I do.
Yeah, but in this day and age with the Xbox, I mean, you don't need to have all your or the PS4. You don't need to have all your stuff on the system. And you can stream it from your computer, although PS4's got to reinstate that, which is ridiculous.
Yeah, but the beauty is like these companies, like they have such good policy. Like not a lot of people give them credit for. If you go back to your account management and you go to your download list, like they keep track of exactly what you've paid for, and they make it accessible for you to just immediately download them again. It's not like you have to file a complaint or you have to call them and be like, listen, I downloaded this a while ago. I want it back. It's there. Like if you want to buy something and never download it, I'm pretty sure PlayStation gives you the option to do that. Because a lot of people do that with the PlayStation Plus because they give you tons of free games every month. And say you don't have the hard drive or you don't have the time to play it, but you don't want to lose that opportunity to play it. You can click like download, and as soon as it starts downloading, you say stop installing. But that game stays in your purchase forever, and it's free forever. And that's the way Xbox is. Is it really that big of a deal to have to re-download something later on?
It takes an hour.
Seriously, is it really that
2
big
hours.
of a deal?
Yeah, no, I agree.
Like everybody keeps making a big deal about the storage thing. I just don't care.
Should they both have 1 terabyte hard drives?
Yes. Absolutely. Yes.
Absolutely. Like really, how much price are they really cutting per system?
Anything.
Hard drive space is so cheap these days.
I don't understand why they didn't do it.
That said, even for us, who are we consider kind of power users, 500 is plenty.
Because Microsoft got rid of that bullshit. We all had to deal with
Hold on a second. Pour me some of that, makers.
We all had to deal with last generation, how they used a proprietary hard drive. Now they're not doing it. Why not go big? Because everybody eventually is going to run out. 'Cause people don't delete their own stuff. I think that's why Microsoft was like, we're going to take the reins here and we're going to delete your stuff for you. Yeah. And I'm perfectly okay with that.
Yeah, no, I do think that that is what it is. And like we were saying before, like, okay, do we want to play, I don't know. I mean, Battlefield 4, maybe not. But do we want to
going back to Battlefield 4? We're going to get into it eventually, guys. Just trust us.
But let's say it was Halo 5. Okay, we go through Halo 5. We love it. We play it. It's great. The next whatever comes out, we start playing that. 2 years down the line, hey, let's go back and play Halo 5. We'll just download it. It's not that big of a deal.
I would probably my pants if I turned on my Xbox one day and be like, hey, Adam, you haven't played Call of Duty Ghosts in 60 days. Would you mind if we deleted it? I think that would be amazing. Like, I want that. And I want my system to be a part of my everyday. And that's what the Xbox One is trying so hard to be. Like, let them do it and stop nitpicking everything they do. Like, I don't understand why people have who cares there's no storage thing. Like, I'm sure there's going to be people out there that you guys are going to hate me for it, but I don't care. Yeah. And that's why I feel like I'm an Xbox fanboy for saying this, but I just don't care. Let me just enjoy this stuff because I haven't had that bad of experience with it. I know what's wrong with it, but it hasn't hindered me from enjoying it.
All right. With all that said, let's get into the games real quick. We talked a little bit about the PS4 ones. Why don't you talk about which games you got, which games you're enjoying, which games you don't like so much?
Well, which games I got and games I'm enjoying is, I think, maybe two different things. Yeah. I got Rise, I got Battlefield 4, and Killer Instinct. And also, I don't know if you want to call Xbox Fitness a game, but I also got that free. And I really, really like Rise, but the combat is just the same thing over and over and over.
It's kind of like that bad summer comedy where it got such bad reviews that you go and you see it and you actually think it's really funny because you had such low expectations. Like we had a blast playing Rise actually, even though it's obviously a very simple game.
Yeah, and I still I think like people nitpick the story. I like the story. The man's fine with that.
I actually thought the Gladiator pit multiplayer was actually really fun.
Was awesome. Yeah. I wish they should have done like a local. I think the local multiplayer would have been awesome with that, but
it's unfortunate that it just feels rushed.
Yeah,
like a lot of the character models are the same.
I can't believe the character models are the same thing.
I know, but like
it's insane. Like the faces are exactly the same.
It's
like,
a beautiful game.
I can understand maybe like body size. If a guy has a shield and sword, he's a bigger guy.
But it's identical.
It's the same face.
They don't even like change the color of the beard or something.
It's crazy. It's like you're fighting a bunch of inbreds.
Yeah,
I mean they are the barbarians, but
maybe that's what they're going for.
But they have like. I think the second or third level, the achievement is called like Saving Private Marcus or something like that. But it's like storming the beach in Normandy. You jump off a boat and you run up the beach, and it is insane. One of the coolest things I've ever seen in a
video. Like arrows flying.
Yeah, there's like what did they? I don't even know what they call them, but they light like huge things on fire and they fling them out of the big catapults and they're blowing up around you. People are fighting and you're just pushing up this beachhead, and it's awesome.
Yeah, it's funny because our friend Nick, he really enjoyed that game too, and he actually went home and bought
he had a blast when he was playing over here.
Because he basically said to me, he's like, when I get home from work, I don't need the stress of a multiplayer game. Sometimes I just want to drink a bottle of wine and kill things, and it's the perfect game for that. And we're not trying to say that it's some sort of 10.
No,
it's just I think it's a little bit better than the reviews it got. That's all. It's definitely
but you can understand. I mean,
there's some unforgivable parts of it, like you said. The combat's too simple.
When you have to there's like these stationary arrows, and it is one of the worst controlling things I've ever done. Well, trying to lock on the people or moving it around.
Well, you remember it started initially as a Kinect game, and I think that shows through. I think they did a pretty decent job, making it into a real game, considering it started as a Kinect game.
I would like to see where it goes if there's a Rise 2. I think they could do a better job.
Yeah, it's kind of like, it reminds me of Assassin's Creed 1, which was like a shit game, but a very, like everyone said the same thing, like this is very unfinished, but boy, it could be cool.
It could be cool.
So
it's very good.
I think we both agree Killer Instinct is great bang for your buck.
It is.
First of all, it's free if you want to play with one character. And neither of us like microtransactions, but that's not the case with this. If you want to pay $20, get the whole roster.
I did pay the $20.
I did too.
I had to get Orchid.
I still not sure who my favorite is, but I like that Thunder guy.
It's $20 for the first season. I believe we still get Spinal and
you get the next two guys. Yeah. And then next season will probably be whatever it is, $10-$20 too. But I think that's actually a good format for kind of, because I don't even like to call it microtransactions, because I think you get $5 a character, you get the entire game. They need they need a story mode, but this isn't a $60 game. I think that it's a great game, and it is so deep. We were doing the practice mode, and we were like blown away by how much there is.
It's very deep, but it's also very accessible.
Yeah, absolutely.
Which is everybody's saying.
You can jump in.
I'm terrible at the combos and stuff. I've never been a left or right, left, down punch kind of guy. That's why I like the old Killer Instinct, because it was charge. It was like hold back, hit forward, hit the kick. Yeah,
and what's cool about it is it's not just like Mortal Kombat is trying to do complicated directional moves, but it's almost, once you get the core mechanics, it's almost a strategy game. It's like, I might try to combo break you, so that I'm going to try to combo break you, so you just stop your combo, which leaves me frozen, then you start another combo, but I might see that coming, so I don't even combo break, and then I start against you, and it's like this crazy mind game.
I would love to see tournaments. I would like to see, I wonder how long the counters keep going. Can you just keep going?
No, because there's a bar when you're doing a combo, and if it maxes out, it automatically ends your combo. But here's another, when I got into some of the lessons, if you need to do a finishing move or you lose all the extra damage, you still get some of the damage, but if you hit the trigger and right bumper at the same time, it gives you like this move that does, every character has a different thing. You might get a little health back, or you might get like unblockable, blah, blah, blah. But what's cool is it puts that meter to 0. So if you could get into a really long combo, use that, jump into another combo. And like, that's what's crazy. It's like and also it takes away your delay from like a power move. So you could use it as a defensive. It's just it's so deep that it's almost overwhelming.
So I should probably try to actually play this game.
Yeah, when I say that, I made it through maybe half the lessons.
I've played it like once.
Yeah, there's an advanced lessons, and I can't imagine how hard they are. And we're seasoned veterans, but it is a very hard game.
And the other one, Battlefield 4. We're gonna have a big episode about that.
Yeah, we're gonna have a whole podcast on that. Let's just say
I really enjoy the multiplayer when it works.
Broken.
Yeah.
As we've hinted at before.
Very disappointing. So
there was a patch today.
Yeah.
You were just playing it.
Yeah.
Does it seem better?
No.
Oh, really?
I was the first 4 or 5 games I tried to get into. I got dumped back to the dashboard every single time.
And we're going to talk about this again, but the fact that they had a downloadable content day one, this is something that just needs to stop in video games. They basically, they made the game, they carved out 10% of it, and they charge you for it. And I thought for sure, because of the disastrous launch, that they would just give us that DLC for free.
Absolutely.
But no dice.
And they're still charging you $50 for that season pass thing.
I know, that is hilarious. Premium. Because as we said before, we're going to be major Titanfall players, and we're not going to play 2 first-person shooters at the same time. So as soon as I'll buy the DLC, assuming I don't give up on this game, I'll buy the DLC up until Titanfall, and then we're never going to play it again, you know?
Yeah, but I mean, I'm excited to see if that game can actually work, because it is very fun. I like the way the guns level.
It's a beautiful game. It
is. It's fun,
and I like the squad based mechanics.
Yes, squad based is great.
It's really neat.
What about you? Any other games? I know you got Killer Instinct, Battlefield 4.
Yeah, we've both played. Forza is very cool, very beautiful. Yeah. We're not really racing game fans, but I feel like if I was, I would definitely have that. FIFA.
You've seen NBA 2K14 in action.
Very cool. I'm not a huge basketball video game simulation fan. I love the NBA Jams, NBA Streets, but our friends, they love it. FIFA, our friends love. Unfortunately, once again, it's broken.
Yeah, well,
because it's EA.
My roommate told me today that there was an update.
It got fixed,
and he said it was working much better,
which is great news.
Yes.
But EA needs to get their.
My roommate's sitting on a treasure trove of games, and I just haven't even bothered.
He is not afraid. Yeah,
he's got Dead Rising, I think he's got them all.
Forza, NBA 2K14, which he originally bought NBA Live, and we laughed really hard because it's like the worst rated game.
As soon as I saw that, I'm like, do not open that game. Take it back immediately.
Another EA game, by the way, which they launched for $60. They got a 2, I think, on like major publications that are afraid of giving major games low scores. Like the best is if you ever look up the picture of LeBron James in NBA Live and in NBA 2K14, he looks like he walked out of a pool of acid in NBA Live. It is awesome. You saved him though. You saw that. Yes. You said, "Do not open that game."
Do not open that game. It was no. That was the second game EA publicly apologized.
Yeah, that's a good point.
They apologized for 2 games.
It's pretty bad
on a launch lineup. They apologized for 2
EA,
games.
Do us a favor. Stop using your own servers, please.
Seriously.
For the love of God, stop it.
Yes, just follow the framework that's out there.
That's Xbox Live. That's one of the best parts about it. Of course, the launch hasn't been perfect, but still, they're gonna. Xbox is gonna get it together.
Oh, absolutely.
So I guess. To sum this up,
want to wrap it up?
Yeah. So both launches are imperfect.
Very imperfect.
We didn't harp on the games too much because I think we both feel that it's so silly. The launch games are always the worst the games are going to be for the generation of the system.
I mean, you can't expect much from launch.
No, and
you want to see promise, and there's promise there.
Both systems have some awesome games promised. Titanfall clearly being the best Xbox exclusive in our eyes. Sony, they're going to have Uncharted 4.
Yeah, and they have infamous Second Son coming out very soon.
That's a big one. And all of those Naughty Dog games and God of War. And
absolutely.
And
I heard Gran Turismo 6 might be making an appearance on PS4.
I heard that too. Very varying opinions on that. I saw a couple harsh reviewers give it actually high scores. Yeah. And I saw a couple, give it nothing terrible, but 8, 8.5. It looks like a great game.
Yeah.
But
and there's also that game. Is it The Last Guardian? Is that the name of that game?
I've never played those.
For about 10 years.
That's something that I really...
That could make an appearance.
What was that originally? Ico or something?
Yeah, all right. Ico? Is it Ico? I don't know.
I'm not sure.
And then what was the one? They made a movie about it.
It was the last...
Yeah, Adam Sandler movie. He was obsessed with it.
It
was the craziest movie. It was about like this guy that lost his family in 9/11. That part's not crazy.
But he was obsessed with that video game?
He lost his mind, and then he just lost himself in that video game.
That's funny.
Him
I didn't
and Don
know about
Cheadle.
That.
It was kind of a weird movie.
That's interesting.
I think it's called Rain Over Me. It was Rain Over Me.
I've never even heard of it.
He kind of looked like Bob Dylan.
Interesting.
Pearl Jam did a cover of a Who song for it. It was a very interesting movie. But
I think Adam might be a little obsessed with this movie.
I forget the name of the game, but I remember the random Adam Sandler movie.
That is really funny. It's because it's kind of, I don't want to call it a cult classic.
People are obsessed with it.
It's definitely, because it's more popular than that, but it's definitely a game that sounds like it should have much more mass appeal than it does. So it's funny that it's just not the game you would expect to be in a movie, you know.
Shadow of the Colossus.
Yeah, Shadow of the Colossus, yeah. Yeah, big boss battles, like kind of that alone feeling of a lot of games where you're kind of just stuck in, you know, you got to figure out where you are, what you're doing.
Yeah, so that game could be around there. I don't know. I don't know where it's going to be.
So once again, it sounds like both systems are going for what their strengths are. It sounds like Microsoft, they're thinking, you know, we're going to go big on multiplayer. We want to dominate. I mean, why competitive gaming? And Sony sounds like they're going to have their awesome single player games. And what's cool is they're both making an effort to do both. You know, the PlayStation Network seems like it's much improved. And I think Xbox is trying to get away from being the home of the first-person shooter. They have Sunset Overdrive coming. They have Project Spark, which looks like their answer to Little Big Planet, where you kind of make your own game world and share it. Which
so
is
it's a game cool. I won't be playing?
Yeah, well, but some people are, you know, that's important to some people. Actually, that game looks very cool. But once again, we talked about it before. If it doesn't have a meaningful single player before you have to depend on user content, then I don't know if me and you will be interested in it, but that doesn't take anything away for, you know, Little Big Planet was a massive game. So have you seen it though? It's like a 3D world as opposed to,
I haven't really seen anything of it.
You know, Little Big Planet's kind of 2D, like almost like a, you know, side scroller. This is like you make a whole world. You can make a monster, make it your sidekick or an enemy, and you can actually use the Kinect to do its animations.
Okay.
Yeah. I don't know how well that works.
What I did see was it was Kinect and Smart Glass integration.
Which is great because just for Xbox to be doing something interesting like that. Because, you know, Sony kind of owns like the Japanese developers that make the RPGs and things like that. So, but Xbox has done a lot of work in Metal Gear Solid 5.
Yeah, we have, if we're going to stay on exclusives, we have Peggle 2. I believe it's a timed exclusive.
It is,
but it is coming out Tuesday, I believe it is.
Is it that soon?
Yeah, this week.
I thought Peggle 1 was great. Yeah, and I actually never play it for Xbox, though. I had it on my phone.
And everything that I've seen in previews said if you like Peggle, there's more Peggle.
It's just a lot more Peggle, yeah.
And I think it's only $12. It's the cheapest Xbox One.
Which is totally
Xbox
fair.
Live game.
I was worried they were going to try to...
I shouldn't say Xbox Live
Angry Birds try to charge like $40?
$49.99 for a free game on Android.
Get out of here. Yes. That is crazy.
It's insane. Like, who would play
Peggle, I think $12 is fair.
Yeah, it's great.
You're not going to get the cheap price of the phone apps, even if it's the same game. It just is what it is. But to charge $50 for Angry Birds is crazy.
I'll play some Peggle. I'm down with that.
I'm down. Maybe someday we'll stream a Peggle game.
Ooh, I would love that.
Assuming that Xbox gets Twitch soon, which is something they need to get on right now.
So want to just wrap this up?
Yeah, let's wrap it up. So I don't know. We'll have some last words. I think that both systems are off to a good start.
Yeah.
I like that. I like having both systems because I think that they're going for different things. I think PS4 is saying, listen, we're going to have kick-ass looking games. They're going to be amazingly fast. They're going to be amazingly pretty. You know, they put in the faster RAM because that's what they want to do. They want to play games and they want them to look awesome. Well, you know, Microsoft, they're going more for the all entertainment thing, which as an adult, I don't find that some sort of insult that people are trying to make it. I think it's great. You know, they reserve more RAM and they used a different kind of RAM to do the all-in-one thing where the Xbox handles things in the background and they can overlay anything over television, which is going to be the killer feature, I think, when they really open that up to developers. I mean, there's so many cool things from football, you know, any sports to everything where you can, you know, anything that you can overlay on your television at all times. That's a great thing.
Let me ask you as a gamer, is this enough for you right now? Is everything that's come out, is it enough for you? Are you disappointed? Do you want more? Or are you good for a little while?
You know what? Is it worth the $1,000 I spent?
Is it worth $1,000? That's what I'm asking.
Absolutely not. But, you know, I think I touched on this earlier. If you read my review, I think we both believe kind of, if you buy a launch console, you're beta testing. You should know that going in. But there's some fun to that. It's kind of cool to say, you know, we had our Xbox 360s, we had our PS3s, and to say, I remember when I got this thing and it sucked, you know, and now it's an amazing gaming device. So.
Or, I mean, I hope that we're not just so like enthralled by that we have new devices that it actually doesn't suck. I think I'm having a better experience than I did with my 360. Mm-hmm. I faked liking that when it first came out.
I kind of
Madden was terrible. Perfect Dark Zero was terrible. There was nothing out there.
I'm with you there.
The
controller was the only really exciting part about that.
What I did with my Xbox 360 is I played Halo 2 on it.
Yeah.
That's what I did.
I know, isn't that sad?
It's for 2 months, 3 months. I've got Fight Night when that came out eventually, like a month later.
I like the fact that we have these kind of next-gen things to do. We can Twitch on PS4.
Yeah.
We can go, the TV, the voice commands. I'm really looking forward to Xbox working on making that a more natural language thing. Maybe even have a conversation with it, because they've shown that they can do it. Because you can say, Bing, show me, show me everything with Jack Nicholson. It'll show all of his movies and TV shows, as we talked about before. So Bing has that capability. We'd like to see that for the whole television, because it's very frustrating when you say Xbox, watch Netflix, and it really wants you to say go to.
Yeah.
It's and that's consumer error. You got to learn as well. But as we discussed before, give us a very good breakdown of the voice commands if you want us to know them all. The little video intro isn't good enough.
It's not good enough.
But a year from now, it'll be very interesting to do kind of a re-review of the launch
absolutely.
consoles.
I think that's a good idea.
That's why I don't put a number on any sort of console review, because it's silly.
If you're a gamer and you like your Xbox 360 and you want to stay with Xbox, you'll love your Xbox One.
Yep.
If you're an Xbox 360 guy, doesn't care about Xbox Live, buy a PS4. Save yourself $100 and enjoy it.
Absolutely. And if you're sitting there and you're worried all your friends got the new consoles and you're a little jealous, don't be. There's no reason. There's no reason. In fact, Titanfall's coming out for Xbox 360. I'm sure the experience won't be quite as good.
No. And I will make fun of you for buying it on the poor system.
That said, you've still got GTA 5. There's a million games
Call
this
of Duty,
year that
Call
you
of
could
Duty,
get.
I'm sure runs great.
So, and honestly, they're probably having less network issues than some of the launch games for the two new consoles. So
you guys we're in a great
testing,
spot. It's a good time to be a video game player.
Absolutely, and both consoles are selling like gangbusters, and that's just great news for everybody.
Yes.
And here's hoping
except the Wii U.
Well, here's hoping the Wii U makes a comeback, because their big games are coming out now. Super Mario World, 3D World, from what I hear, could be the game of the year.
Yeah,
it's supposed to be a 10.
But I think you got a game of the year sitting in your pocket, right?
Well, that's my game of the year.
Yes.
Yeah,
we'll talk about that later.
Yeah, we will. Yeah, that'll be a future podcast. But so I think that's a good rundown of the two new consoles, and we look forward to playing them.
I think we did a good job with this episode. We tried to do like a half an hour, and we're sitting about 3 hours.
Yeah,
deep.
for the fans out there of which we don't have yet, we decided we put down a little content, did an intro, and we wanted to do one 1 hour podcast. We had Xbox One launch, PS4 launch. We wanted to talk about our favorite games of 360 and PS3. Yeah. We wanted to talk about the new Zelda 3DS game, Link Between Worlds, and we ended up we're at about almost 3 hours now. Yeah, so we're going to have to cut these down.
This is the things we do for you people.
Yeah, exactly. But we're excited about that.
Yes.
Hopefully we didn't get too long-winded.
And if we did, then sorry. It'll probably happen again.
Well, boys and girls, that does it for episode 1. It only took us 3 parts and 3 hours, but we finally wrapped up our comments on the next-gen consoles. We really thank you for listening. We thank you for being patient. This is an ongoing process. We'd like to thank a few people. First of all, Maker's Mark Whiskey, Kentucky Straight Bourbon Whiskey. Now, our original plan, we were going to drink a different bourbon every single episode. Unfortunately, when we sat down and had a 3-hour marathon, we instead just drank an entire bottle of Maker's Mark. So we'd like to thank them for our first 3-part series. On top of that, we'd like to thank Chad Johnson again, our producer, our friend, our intro theme writer. You can find him on ReverbNation.com/ChadJohnson27. Not Ocho Cinco, Chad Johnson. This song is called The Sequence, and he's going to take us out again. And remember, whether you found us on iTunes or anywhere else on the internet, we would love if you would share us, get the message out there, retweet us, steal our show, comment, review. Anything is great for us. You can tweet us at 8bit Bourbon. You can find us on Instagram, 8bit Bourbon. If you want to email us, 8bitbourbon@gmail.com. We promise a reply. We want this to be as interactive as possible, so if there's something you'd like us to talk about, or if there's something we really messed up, or if there's, you just think we're wrong, we'd love to hear from you. So for Adam, I'm Andy, and we're 8-Bit Bourbon.
The time it takes to wake up without your